Hello, how's it going? A little bit of tea, true to our name, right? Um, I really don't know what I'm going to talk about. One thing I guess I will evangelize is just speed the video up. If you're watching this, good for you. You've come to the right place. But I found that sometimes watching videos at regular speed, especially for slow talkers like me, it does just drag on and on and on. And I find that if you speed things up, it makes it flow better. You can adjust it to your ear. I think that personally, about half the people I watch on videos, even documentaries, I will at least put it at 1.5 times the speed. It just makes life a little bit more interesting. I think I can watch more videos. I just love it. So some people speak so fast that I can't go that. I have to kind of slow it down. Anything in a foreign language, uh, I will have to uh, keep at least at the same regular speed. Anyway, that's enough of that. So one of the things that I've found in the last couple of days is that it's actually kind of been hard to uh, for lack of a better term, keep the faith. And I don't mean that in a religious sense, in a sense of like keeping up hopes and staying optimistic. Although I never really considered myself an optimist, I figure a positive mental attitude towards life tends to be much more productive. You tend to appreciate uh, good things in life. You tend to get better outcomes. Part of that might be because you exude an aura, an ambiance that other people like and they want to be around. They want to be a part of what you've got going on. And if you don't have that, they see you as a downer. They don't want to know. And then that kind of reinforces your crappy existence. So you kind of have to find a way either to fake it or find something to be really happy about so you're not faking it at all. You're just kind of being happy. Um, and I find that to be very difficult because I'm not a naturally optimistic person. I don't know what it is. I've always been told that I'm sort of a bit of a downer. Maybe not directly in those terms, but I've never been told that, oh, you're a bubbly personality. That's never been the case for me. I doubt it ever will be. Yeah. On the other hand, I do notice that when people uh, succeed in life, the enthusiasm tends to be contagious, and that's something that is very difficult to understand from an intellectual or even sort of sociological standpoint. It's like, why is it that people want to be around other people who are happy? They think, now, one, I guess it's not great to be around somebody depressing because ultimately, moods, um, humors, whatever you want to call them, are contagious. And we all want good things for ourselves. We all want to be in a good mood. Um, so being around another good person in a good mood is contagious. So if somebody's happy, you might be happy for them. They might include you in their whatever it is that's making them happy. If they've just made $1 million or something like that, they might give you a job, or they might take you out to dinner or something along those lines. And again, if you're generally depressed, just seeing glum faces or crappy talk is brings down the mood of the room. I know that. I don't need to be told that depressive people are a downer. I bring myself down sometimes. And I suppose that the first step towards picking up your mood, um, other men, I've sort of, I've at least been reading about this. I've been thinking about it, doing a little experiments to see what works. I do find that physical activity helps. Um, I know that sometimes I'm not in the mood to go for a run or a long walk or whatever, do push-ups, whatever it is that I think might help. But you gotta find a way to get through that lack of enthusiasm for uh, physical exercise, be it sort of hard by like running or sort of leisurely walking. I mean, I tend to walk a lot around the city. I don't have a car. My wife has the car. There are subways in Philadelphia, but they're not that great, and they smell like piss and shit. So I don't really. I only do it when it's raining or something's bothering me. Like sometimes my knees. This is the old age talking, I suppose. My knees kind of aren't up to it today. Or sometimes I sleep strange on my back. So I might have like a little, kink in my neck or on my back. And so I don't really. So the thing is, like, I know that somehow you have to treat yourself well. So if you actually do have a physical um, problem, like a dodgy knee or a dodgy back or you're sick, right? It's probably not best to go out exercising in that. If you don't have that excuse, right? You have no excuse not to go exercise. And I'll tell you this, all right? You really don't want to. It's tiring. I don't really get that much of a post run high. Maybe I don't run far enough, but usually about 3 or 4 miles. I'm trying to build up my endurance, but not that I love running. I don't really love it. It's just I love having accomplished it. It's like I've done something. Sometimes my wife will come home and say, "What'd you get up to today?" And I tell her, A, B, C, D, and I went for a run. She's like, "Oh, good." Like I think that, like I said, that positive mental attitude is um, contagious. So is good behavior. When you are, I've heard it said, and I might have even said this on one of these videos. I guess I've done enough of them, 40, uh, not remember very much of the past. But I think that I've heard it said, and I don't know how true this is, that you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. Well, really, I hang out with my wife, my cats. I don't know if that counts. Uh, as well as people on the internet that I watch their videos or whatever. So I don't have a lot of people in my social circle. So I would say that yeah, if I can find a way to be my own average, because I actually spend a lot of time with myself, so I suppose that I am one of those people that I hang out with. So if I have been in a depressive mood lately, that's part of the average. And if my wife's not in a good mood, that's part of the average. So I try to watch positive videos, not like bubbly, oh, isn't life great kind of thing, but I try to avoid negative stuff. I try to avoid extremely emotional, distraught people, mostly because they are downers. Nothing ever gets solved by panic, and ultimately, it just brings you down. So I try to avoid that whenever possible. I do try to keep informed about what's going on in the world, but I try not to get too informed because you get emotionally attached to the subject. I said in maybe a couple of videos ago that I think that people just sort of get emotional about the news. They'd rather feel their way through a problem than think their way through a problem, and I think that's something that animals do. They rely on emotion and instinct rather than problem solving or just contemplation. Doesn't seem a whole lot of that going on today. So like I say, it's like in order to make myself feel better, it's not only just exposing yourself to positive things, but it's cutting out negative things. And ultimately, this is, I feel like I'm fighting for my life here. As somebody who has been suffering just sounds like I've got cancer. I don't. Somebody who's had depression for had it for my entire adult life. I actually wasn't really that aware of it because I didn't know any different. And I just thought that other people just didn't feel like getting out of bed most of the time too. So and then once you are able to recognize that and are able to stop yourself in the middle of a bout and uh, recognize that you are currently going through a bout of depression, um, you can stop and dissect the mood, dissect the current situation that you feel yourself in. You say, what can I do? I feel like it's kind of a silly analogy, but I feel like my life is like a plane ride. So you're flying along right here, and then a bad mood is just, the plane goes down like this. And you're the pilot of the mood, right? And you have to find a way to get yourself out of that nosedive and then pull the wheel, whatever it is. I'm not a pilot. Pull it, the yoke, I think it's called. And then you just pull it out, and so the plane comes back up. Now, I suppose that there are ways of doing that, but they're not that healthy. So usually, drink drugs, even less destructive things, but ultimately not productive. Like a food, um, junk food. Because actually, that, and this is such a cliche that you are what you eat. You eat junk, you're gonna feel like crap. And probably for a couple of days. I've noticed that usually when I'm in a bad mood, I I I actually have a list over there. I'm not going to get up and get it. Of things. It's a checklist. When you're in a bad mood, you recognize it. You you really kind of have to force yourself to sort of sit there and do some sort of diagnostics about what you're feeling at the moment. And I basically come to this: did I sleep very much last night? Am I tired, etc.? Have I exercised lately? What have I been eating lately? What have I been talking about, thinking about, watching on TV or on the internet? Um, am I cooking my own food? Now, I know that the what have I been eating, cooking my own food. Um, Cooking to me is a very therapeutic process. It could be not even the most healthy food, but for me, it's about taking time to focus on something. So if you're cooking food, let's say you're doing something that requires a lot of time, a lot of steps, a lot of a lot of processes that um, you're so focused on. Let's say you feel like crap. You wake up. You're like, I'm not, I'm not in the mood today. So you feel like, okay, not in the mood today. The best way to deal with this, if you've got the time, is occupy your mind where you're not thinking about the way you feel. And for me, that's cooking. Cleaning does it. I think it's not as fun because there's no food at the end to eat. No cheese involved with cleaning unless it's scraping it off the floor. Excuse me. Um, um, so when you're cooking, you do have that little bonus at the end of something to eat. Eat your creation. I suppose it's like a Greek god in that sense. Um, but you focus on something. So let's say, for example, you're doing something like tomato sauce. You're going to make some kind of pasta or something. Um, you've got onions, you've got garlic, you've got meat, you've got a process. If it's more involved, like something like a lasagna, um, it's there's going to be a lot of time, little steps. You got to put out the lasagna pieces. It's something that you stop thinking about the sort of higher level. Oh, my life is crap. I'm not feeling very well, and you're focused on making sure that that garlic does not burn because it's going to be bitter and you're going to have to start all over again. Or you have to make sure that the onions, you don't use too many onions because then it's just onion and tomato, which is fine, but not everybody is into that. Um, and then you have to make sure that you mix everything properly and that you stirring it occasionally, and then you kind of focus on things. And if you're doing something else at the same time, an hour and a half is gone, and you haven't even thought about how depressed you are. Likewise, cleaning. If you look at the house, I'm not going to give you a tour right now. So there's the living room over there. There's the kitchen back there. There's downstairs, which is an unfinished basement. So basically, it's just storage and a washer and a dryer. You've got a staircase going up there. You've got 2 small bedrooms, a bathroom, a hallway, and the master bedroom. Now, that's probably about 8 things that need to be cleaned every now and again. Now, I don't like cleaning very much. I don't like doing the dishes very much. But they need to get done because you need dishes for next meal. We also have cats. My wife and I eat a lot of onion and garlic related things because it's delicious. So cats cannot eat. And the dog is fine because the dog's not really going to get up on the counter, but the cat's going to get up on the counter. Particularly 2 cats. I'm looking at you right now, Bruce. He's sleeping, but he's thinking about the cheese that I might have out there. They can't have that stuff. It makes a mess. God knows what it does to their insides. Onions and garlic are terrible for cats. I'm pretty sure tomato's not very good either, but I don't think that they're that interested in it for some reason. Anyway, I'll stop looking back there. Cleaning the house, the final product is actually really good. It's nice to have a clean house. Just sit down and you're like, okay, we have 4 animals. We have a dog and 3 cats. There's cat and dog hair everywhere. I mean, we have a little dustbuster for the stairs. That needs to be done 2 or 3 times a week because these little guys shed like a mofo, especially this time of year. Spring and autumn are like shed season. So I'll sweep a little bit. I'll vacuum. We have a vacuum cleaner that kind of does the sweeping. It's not that great. I think it's on its last legs, to be honest with you. But it still works a bit. And I'll get down and get like a dustpan and a broom and do the things that the vacuum cleaner won't get up. I know this is boring, but there's a point to this. And then I do the dining room here, the living room there. I'll do the stairs, the hallways, the bedrooms, because we do have 2 cat boxes upstairs, which picks up a lot of dust. That one that just went up the stairs, you probably didn't see him. He might have been over there having a drink. He loves to kick up the cat litter. So there's lots of cat litter to be cleaned up every single day, probably a couple times a day. Every time he goes to the bathroom, it's cat litter everywhere. We've had a couple ways of solving that problem. So the point is that this needs a lot of work. That's where this is actually a good thing for me because it's something that takes, if I do a light job, it'll take, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes just to do the vacuuming. But if I do a deeper clean of cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the kitchen, mopping the floors, we don't have any carpet, and we have sort of rolled out carpet and everything, but there's not like wall-to-wall carpeting. So everywhere in the house needs either vacuuming, sweeping, mopping. And the bathroom needs work too. Obviously, you got to clean the toilet, you got to clean the sink, the shower, the floor, even in little places you don't usually think about, like underneath the toilet bowl, etc. This might take an hour and a half. I just turn on a podcast and go for it. That's my Friday afternoon, and I feel great afterwards. I'm tired. It sucks. I feel wonderful afterwards because I've done something, and I have a clean house to show for it. And I didn't think about depression for an hour and a half, however long it took. So you got to find these ways of making yourself not only the occupying time, you find a way to lift yourself up, positive thinking, and avoiding the negative. I guess that's the topic, is just avoid the negative, look for the positive, and just find ways, positive ways, productive ways of using your time. All right, so I don't know how useful that was, but it was useful for me to talk about. I killed 20 minutes. So I will see you in another video soon. Bye.